Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. He is a member of the Select Committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Thank you very much for being on this morning. I'd first like to begin by asking you your reflections on the day, now 1 year ago.
I'm really disappointed today. I'm sad, and not for the obvious reason because, of January 6th. But first off, it's been a year and it feels like it's been a day. But mostly because we haven't made progress. And I'm not talking about the committee. The committee's made progress, but I'm talking about as the American people, particularly as Republicans. I think we're almost in a worse position than we were the day after January 6th. I mean, on January 7th, there was kind of this sense among GOP members of Congress of silence. Let's wait. Let's see where this goes. Obviously a few people were outspoken pretty incredibly. Liz Cheney, for one. I was trying to be outspoken as well. And then Kevin McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago, and he basically took the paddles out of the ambulance and resurrected Donald Trump's political life. By the way, history books will record that the reason Donald Trump is still a force today, I promise you, is one man, Kevin McCarthy, who went down and resurrected him. And so I look back on this day, and while January 6th was a terribly tragic day, I think of Officer Sicknick. I think of his mom Gladys, his fiance, his family, those others that took their life in the wake of this because of the mental toll it took. January 6th is one day. I worry about the rot leading up to it, the rot that has existed since January 6th, and the fact that I don't feel like we're any further along in confronting it.
Hey, Congressman, it's Willie Geist. Great to have you on the show this morning. You mentioned Kevin McCarthy, and I think that's emblematic of the turn that a lot of people hoped would happen on January the 6th, watching this and saying this is completely unacceptable. We cannot stand for this. Kevin McCarthy said that himself that night. Lindsey Graham said, enough is enough. I'm out. I'm walking away from this. And then sure enough, within 2 weeks, Kevin McCarthy was at Mar-a-Lago assuring Donald Trump that he was still with him. Can you speak a little bit to those days after January 6th where you thought maybe this was it, this was the breaking point, and what happened to make sure that it wasn't, in fact, that Donald Trump was strengthened by what happened that day?
Yeah, I mean, look, the day after January 6th, I mean, there was a group of us talking about, the fact that on January 1st, for instance, I was on a conference call talking to all the Republican members. I said to Kevin McCarthy directly as the first basic caller, because we were in virtual at that point, I said, there's going to be violence because we're convincing people the election was stolen. If you're any American that's ever been to school, you know that if an election is stolen, you actually have a responsibility sometimes by force. And we have convinced these people of this, and he just dismissed it. Adam, next caller. And so, that was infuriating. And the day after January 6th, you go together in the conference room where there's all the Republican members of Congress, and it's basically silence. It's like this shell shock. What next? What now? Waiting for leadership. And Kevin McCarthy, despite his title as GOP leader, exercised zero leadership. In fact, keep in mind, it was 2 days prior, I think, to January 6th, where he came out and forcefully said he would object to the election, even though he initially said he wouldn't, even though, he signed things because he was pressured to, even though he knows they were wrong. And I look at that and it's disappointing. And it's disappointing even to see some of those outspoken after January 6th that have since crawled back into the bunker because, boy, Adam and Liz are taking a whole bunch of shots, and we don't want to take those shots.
Congressman Kinzinger, it's Jonathan Lemire. Good morning. Today, on the anniversary of January 6th, can you give us an update as to the next steps for the Select Committee? In particular, there's been some talks and reporting in the last couple of days. There may be some primetime hearings in the works in the weeks ahead. And also, would the committee subpoena sitting members of Congress?
Yeah, it's all good questions. We do intend to do some hearings in prime time. And I think what's very important is the first kind of 6 months of committee activity was, if you think of what you're seeing as the old iceberg analogy, you're going to see a little bit the Mark Meadows stuff, the Bannon stuff. That's a little bit of the number of people we're actually talking to. Well, it's the same in information gathering. We've talked to over 300 witnesses. We want to put a few in front of the American people, though, to show the story, to tell the story, because just as important as the comprehensive report is going to be that kind of shows the rot leading up to January 6th, stuff on January 6th and after, what's most important is that the American people get the truth, free of political spin, right or left, free of conspiracy. And that in 5 or 10 years, I have a son that's going to be born any day here, that he, when he goes to school, learns the truth about January 6th and not some twisted version meant to abuse the patriotism of their base. So we do plan to do that. In terms of, subpoenaing members of Congress, as you understand, there's a lot of kind of different questions on that in terms of a body of Congress subpoenaing a member of Congress. But we will unturn every stone and move heaven and earth to get to the answer. And if that includes that, sure, absolutely. We wish they'd come and speak to us voluntarily. I'm not holding my breath.
All right, Congressman Adam Kinzinger, thank you so much, and thank you for your service.
And good luck with the baby.
You bet. Thank you. Thanks.
All right.